Yo, 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 yo. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, beautiful people? What's the deal? What's the deal? Happy Sunday, day 16. Day 16. We almost a third of the way there, man. Tomorrow, we're gonna be a third of the way to the goal. 50-day goal, man. 50-day mission. Um, there was a lot of feelings today, some nervousness, right? But ultimately, a great freaking day, man. Day 16, I feel extremely powerful. Still cutting weight, of course, right? Not eating, but feeling high energy, man. Feel real accomplished today. Dream came true today. I've been wanting to participate, to speak, to present that beyond the bars since I heard about it when it started about 16 years ago, right? 15, 16 years ago, man. I've been wanting to present there. And today we made that dream come true, man. Today we presented there, man, thanks to Echoes of Incarceration, co-facilitated a restorative filmmaking and restorative community building session. Show some films, did some reflections, had our circle, our check-in, our community agreements, and things like that. And then I guided a 10-minute meditation, man, that was absolutely powerful, that was beautiful. A lot of people got a lot out of the meditation, connected with some great people, right? Great people from New York, great people from other parts of the country, great people from other parts of the world. Professor from Paris I connected with, man, doing great work around criminology. And yeah, today was real powerful, man. Our Echoes crew, I'm so proud of the team, so proud of the young people who facilitated the circle, so proud of the young people who was documenting, filming, live streaming. Yeah, it was dope, man. It was definitely a dream come true. There was definitely a moment after everything was done as we was packing up, and I just had to sit down because 16 days, right? Like I'm very strong, mentally, emotionally, physically strong. But 16 days without food is still fucking brutal, right? And so today is 16 days, no food. I'm still working out every day, still hitting my 10,000 step goal, still doing push-ups, pull-ups, ab rollers, resistance bands, still navigating heavy emotions about moving out of my crib, stuff with my children, right? There's a lot of things going on that I'm navigating emotionally and thinking about mentally and feeling in my body, right? But I'm here, man. 16 days. We are at like 197 pounds, so about 28 pounds lost in the last 16 days, right? And I feel, like I said, I feel strong, man. I'm waking up because I'm not getting enough sleep. I'm not waking up as early as I would like to, but I'm still waking up vibrant. I'm waking up alert. I'm waking up alive. I'm not waking up sluggish. Other than like sometimes again being tired. That's only because I'm staying up to 3 o'clock sometimes and waking up at 6:37, right? So definitely not getting enough sleep. But that's going to change because we are going outside this coming week, right? Getting ready to go outside, man. The latest will be next Sunday. I'll probably go out Wednesday, but Wednesday to Sunday, one of those days, we're going outside in Queensbridge. We're setting up the tent. We're pushing this shit. Again, met some new people today, but also saw some old friends. Friend of mine's, brother of mine's, Glenn Martin, who's doing incredible work, who's been doing incredible work in criminal justice and mass incarceration and criminal justice, not just reform, but transformation. Also doing some great things in some other sectors, some other fields, man. Absolute inspiration. I actually worked for him back in 2016 when he ran Just Leadership University, not Just Leadership University, Just JS, Just Leadership, JL, Just Leadership, JLA, I don't even remember. It's not university. It wasn't a fucking school. I don't remember, but just Leadership USA. That was the U. Just Leadership USA. And through that organization, we created, we founded, we started the Close Rikers campaign, and we got Mayor De Blasio at the time to agree to closing Rikers. And every night, there's always a bunch of sirens, man. These sirens are fucking loud. I live in an area where there's a hospital up the block, where there's a precinct not too far, a few blocks up, and then there's a fire department right down the block, man. So there's always a lot of fucking sirens over here. So pardon the sirens if you hear it in your background. I apologize for that. But tonight's talk tonight, right? I'm just gonna frame it. We're talking about education, not general education. We're talking about the future of education, right? So the first 1 through 15 days was really about who I am and what this is that we're building, right? And why it matters. Now we're getting into the future. We're going to talk about the future of education. We're going to talk about how Continuum helps people develop. We're going to talk about a lot of things related to the future, right? And what's possible if we build this world healing system. What's possible through the work that we are doing, from Continuum to Neurosoul Liberation University to the whole vibe and Miss Juicy, and everything else that we got going on within this ecosystem, right? Food justice and youth development. So I'm excited, man, because like this is where it's like we get to really see what's possible. We get to really see what's possible and how we can build a better world right now in real time. Just we got to do it collectively, right? No one person can get this shit done. Maybe if I was a fucking trillionaire, billionaire, I'll be able to just pay people to do it. But we're not there yet, right? The goal, you guys know the goals, man. So we're gonna get there at some point, but we're not there yet, man. We're still building. We're building an infrastructure for human development, human becoming, human potential, and human transformation. And but before we go any further, before we really get into tonight's talk, let's ground, right? We always want to begin with the grounding, with the meditation. So yeah, if you will, if you are laying down, just find a comfortable position. Excuse me. If you are sitting, allow your feet to be planted firmly on the floor beneath you. Allow your back to be straightened by the chair or whatever it is behind you. Allow your arms to rest gently in your lap or by your side, whichever is more comfortable for you. Allow your head to lean forward so that your chin is in your chest. And allow your eyes to close ever so softly. If you are able to, do it safely. And simply become aware of your breath. Become aware of your breathing. Allow your shoulders to fall away from your ears. Becoming fully relaxed in this space right now, wherever you are, so long as you are safe. Taking a few more moments to just connect with your breath. Your breath, which has been with you since the moment of conception. Your breath that has been with you through all of the tough days, through all of the great days, through all of the loss and the pain, the joy and the beauty. Your breath has been there, sustaining you, keeping you connected to this physical world, connected to the invisible world. It's been your breath, the one thing that, as of yet, has not left you. I said before, and I'll say it again, breath is life. And so the more you were able to control your breathing, the more you were able to control your life. You're able to control your responses. You're able to control your decisions. You're able to control your actions and your behaviors. And those collectively make up your life. So as March ends and we really get into spring, we get into April, we get into new life and abundance and flowers blooming and blossoming. I want you to see yourself the same way. See yourself coming out of winter, coming out of a stage of dormancy, stage of stillness, state of cold. And see yourself like a flower opening up as the sunlight gets warmer, as the earth heats up, and as the daylight lasts longer. See yourself becoming more of who you really are. Becoming more youthful, becoming more vibrant, becoming happier, more peaceful, more patient, more outgoing, more loving, more nurturing. See yourself fully. Laughing more, smiling more, checking in with friends more, family more. enjoying more sunsets and more sunrises from outside as the temperature warms up. And if you will, you can actually give yourself a hug. Put your arms around yourself and feel yourself. You endured the winter. You've endured the hardships in your life. You've endured the frigid cold, and you've endured the snow and the harsh rains. You've endured the storms. And although more storms will come, you are here now. And you've endured everything you faced so far, the winters of your life. You've survived. So hug yourself tight. Grip yourself. And simply say, thank you for keeping me. Thank you for enduring. I love you. You can tell yourself that you love yourself. Ashe. When you're ready, you can let your hands go. You can shake your hands by your side, wiggle your toes, give yourself a neck roll. When you're ready, slowly begin to open your eyes and come back to the space. Thank you. How did that hug feel? I know it felt good to me, man, to hug myself. Feels really good. Feels really good. Feels really good to hug yourself, to touch yourself, to feel your body, right? Even if you don't have the body that you ideally want, you have a body and you can transform it, all right? You can transform it. You can change it. You can adjust it however you see fit. It's the beautiful thing about being alive is that you can make different decisions. You don't have to be who you've always been. You don't have to be how you've always been. You can change gears. You can shift gears and create something new. Right. So yeah, let's get to it, man. Let us talk about education, man. What education should look like. I'm gonna name it. The education system has been trashed for a very long time. Very, very long time. Very, very my whole life, the education system has been trashed. And as much as I love learning, right? As much as I love now learning about myself, learning the neuroscience stuff, regulating emotions, the meditation, the mindfulness, learning how to connect with others, right? I'm like, man, like if school was like this, how much more interesting would it be? And so tonight's theme is just that, right? What education should look like, preparing humans for life, not just for survival. Preparing humans for life, not just survival. And so how many of you tuned in, listening, went through school and were never taught how to manage your emotions, how to understand your mind, how to build discipline or live with purpose? I, and I'll answer for my sisters and my brothers and my nephews and my nieces, right? All of us, so many of us, right, that I know personally went to school and graduated and went to college even and did all of the things, right? I know people with double masters and bachelors and freaking doctorates, but they don't know how to manage their emotions. They don't know how to really understand their mind nor build discipline or live with real purpose. They go to school, they get these degrees, they learn all these things that help them make a living, that help them earn income, right? But they never really learn how to live. And we see it all the time. We see people, we hear the stories of people. They got these degrees, they got this money, and then they're miserable, they're depressed, and some end up taking their lives. That's not an accident, right? In school, we learn how to memorize, we learn how to pass tests, and we learn how to follow instructions, right? And so the school system, the education systems were designed to create workers, right? And so learning how to be a worker, learning how to follow instructions, learning how to pass tests, learning how to memorize. You step into the real world and you're unprepared. You're unprepared for conflict. You're unprepared to deal with loss and failure. You're unprepared, completely unprepared for life. You know how to maybe read a spreadsheet. You learn how to freaking maybe balance a checkbook, right? You learn how to follow instructions. You learn how to obey. You learn how to fall in line. but you don't learn how to actually live as a human being amongst other human beings. You don't learn that. So we're gonna go into it, man. What education should actually look like tonight. That's what we're gonna talk about, because what we're building actually, part of what we're building is education. All right, we're building a whole education model. Neural Soul Liberation University. It's all about education, right? So most education systems, as I mentioned, they were not designed to develop human beings. They were not designed to develop the whole human being, the whole you. They were designed to create workers. They prioritize memorization over understanding, compliance over creativity. No, oh no, I didn't ask you for that. No, 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 you can't come up. A lot of companies, a lot of places where you work, you can't come up, like you can't be creative. You got to literally follow things the way they're set out, follow the guidelines, which is like, okay, but like, what if I got a different idea? No, that's not welcome here. Especially if you entry level, right? You're not at the top, connected to the top. It's like, nah, we don't want to hear your ideas. It's like, whoa, right? Like, prioritize grades over growth. A lot of people don't grow in school. They grow physically, right? Because as you age, even if you're not eating properly, you're going to grow. You're going to get bigger. You're going to grow. Physically, you're going to grow. But how many people in school, went through school, currently in school, have not grown mentally nor emotionally? I went through school, didn't grow too much emotionally. Actually, by the time I got kicked out of school, right? But by the time I got my GED at 16 years old, I was more emotionally freaking scattered, mentally scattered and effed up than I was when I started school at 5 years old, 4 years old, right? Nursery school. It's like, how? Like, how didn't I learn how to manage my emotions? How didn't I learn how to deal with grief? I lost my dad at 11, end of elementary school, going to middle school, junior high school, a few weeks later. Why wasn't there a space to teach me how to manage that grief? If it's such a huge part of my life, huge part of our lives, we all as children deal with some form of grief. How don't we teach that shit in school? Right? How do we not teach that shit in school? So what's missing from education on a real deal tip is the things that actually determine the quality of your life. That is what's missing. And what are those things? Emotional intelligence, self-awareness, discipline. I say all the time, I told Kimona, I said, yo, I didn't grow up, even though I played sports, basketball and football, I didn't grow up really working out. And so now, over the last 5, 6, 7 years getting into workout, I've been inconsistent a lot of those years. This is the most consistent I've been now, right? To 2023, I've been a lot more consistent, and now I'm the most consistent I've ever been, right? But discipline, like, imagine if I would have learned discipline as a youth in school. So some people would say, oh, well, that's your family. No, it's the family. The school is an extension of the family. It's community. It's all part of the same thing, right? And so those are things, if I'm going to be educated, right, those are the things that I should be educated on. How to build discipline, right? How to build discipline. It's extremely important. Those things matter, though they determine the quality of your life. Your health, physical health, emotional health, mental health. I think now, right now, the last few years, some schools have started implementing, I don't know if most, but I know some, started implementing was SEL, social emotional learning, right, which is great. So far behind, and it doesn't really go into depth, right? Still memorization, still reading and memorizing, right? Purpose. How, if your purpose determines your direction that you take in life, why is that not one of the first things that we are taught in school? First things that's explored is, what is your purpose? Why are you here? And the other thing that determines the quality of your life is your relationships. We don't learn how to relationship build. Not in a way that it should be taught, and not across grades, not at all schools. These things should be mandatory. Right now, there was a time when they had home ec, right? When you may learn how to cook, where you may learn how to, like, they had the you take a plant home, or you take an egg home, and you got to nurture it, and you got to, like, be a parent to it, right? They had those things, right? And they had wood shop and workshop, and they taught you, right? But they had those things, not teaching you how to be an entrepreneur, how to be self-sufficient, so to speak, right? But how to still be a worker, how to, you learn this so you can go work for a company. And it's like, cool, right? Everybody's not going to be an entrepreneur, understood. But everybody has the ability to create a revenue for themselves, right? Like everybody, let me say, everybody's not going to own a business, right, where they have employees, but everyone has the potential to be an entrepreneur where they can go out on their own. They have the skills, they have the emotional intelligence and self-awareness, the discipline, they have the health, and they know their purpose. They can manage relationships, build relationships. They can go out there and create income for themselves. Everyone has that potential. Whether they choose to or not, right, is one thing. But to be taught it, I think, is a necessity, right? These are life skills. We need life skill education, right? Not just education that teaches to a test, how to ultimately see how much you remember, not how much you've grown, not how beautiful of a person you are, not how vast your mind is, not how deep you are able to think, your depth, not that, right? Like, these are life skills. And most people have to figure them out on their own. I did. I got some stuff from my dad before he transitioned, right? Some stuff from people in my family and in my neighborhood, but almost none of it I got from school. The only thing I think I got from school, right, which I'm grateful for, is the ability to speak. I took a lot of communication arts classes, performing arts classes, right, and it taught me confidence in speech, right? And I tell a story before, third grade, never forget, in class, Mr. Banner was my teacher, PS 111 in Long Island City, got called up to speak in front of the classroom, hands start sweating, I'm getting nervous, I'm looking around, people looking at me, some people smirking and waiting, the teacher's looking at me. I reached, there was a desk, I grabbed the apple, I threw the apple in the back of the classroom, because I would rather get in trouble at that point. I would rather get in trouble than to speak in front of a class, even though these were my classmates. I was in class with them for, I don't know, however many weeks, and some of them I knew from grades before, some were from the neighborhood. But I would rather get in trouble than to speak. So that's one thing that throughout school, right, in middle school, junior high school, and then through my GED and ultimately college, I did learn. I did take public speaking classes. I did take the art of communication classes. I did all of that stuff. So that's one thing that school gave me, was speaking, right, which obviously built confidence. But a lot of the other stuff, all of it came from just figuring out life, man, trial and error, getting in trouble. Again, thankfully, I had some mentors. I had some adults in my life, through my community center, and again, some in my family that really helped me. But most people don't have that, and so they don't figure it out. And so you have people my age, a little younger and older, a little bit older and much older, into their 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s, who don't have these skills, who don't have the emotional intelligence, nor the self-awareness, the discipline, right? They don't care about their health. They don't know how to, like, be healthy. They don't know what health is. They don't know their purpose. It's people who live and die at 80 and 90 who don't have a purpose. People don't know how. I know 60 and 70-year-olds, right, who don't know how to build relationships and maintain relationships. Like, it's crazy. So again, school teaches you how to make a living, but not how to actually live. And the purpose of life is to live. It's to live life fully and abundantly. But if all you were taught in school is how to make money, how to earn income, then something is missing, again, which is why we have so many people who make great money, who got great jobs and titles, but they're miserable, they're depressed, and they live their lives addicted to substance, addicted to alcohol, drugs, sex, shopping, freaking entertainment, addicted to excuses, addicted to whatever the things, gambling, whatever the things you could be addicted to. And a lot of the addiction comes from the lack of feeling whole, right? The lack of feeling whole. How do I know? I've been there. I've been addicted to alcohol and weed and sex and gambling and food, and I'm currently breaking my addiction to food, right? Currently breaking my addiction to food, which is also one of the reasons for this long ass fast, this long ass hunger strike, because I have an addiction to food. I eat a lot. Vegan food, not the worst food in the world, but a lot. Even if I eat the healthiest food, I still will eat too much of it. It's an addiction. I eat when I'm sad. I eat when I'm angry. I eat when I'm excited. I eat for every single thing, right? Especially when I'm sad, frustrated, angry. I want to eat. Sad yesterday. Now, I knew I wasn't going to eat, but the thought crossed my mind, like, right now, if I was eating, I would eat a big-ass sandwich right now. I would eat a sandwich. That was me yesterday. I cried in the park. I cried at home during prayer and meditation. And for the comfort, what I'm used to, right, what I've always done, is eat when I feel like that. Eat or drink. I don't drink anymore. Cool. Never going back there. But eating, yes. Eating is non-judgmental. People don't judge you for eating when you're sad, right? And so, like, I could eat, and I'm not going to judge myself. I mean, started to, like, damn, you got to do better. Meditate, breathe, exercise more. You don't got to eat every time you feel something, right? Eat when you're hungry, right? So yeah, school teaches you how to make a living, not actually how to live. So what education should be about one thing. Excuse me. Burp not coming out. Education should be about one thing and one thing only, and that one thing should be developing a human being. That should be the main purpose of education, to develop the human being, the mind, the body, your emotions, your spirit, your environment, your purpose. That is what education should be about. One freaking thing, to develop the whole you. Understanding your mind, how does your mind work? Learning how to rewire your brain, learning how to process trauma and transform pain into power, right? Learning how to embrace struggle, embrace challenges, right? There are people who experience challenges and they fucking crumble. And it's like, challenges are part of life. Education should teach you that shit. There should be some kind of obstacle courses. Like, you are going to experience challenges. You are going to go into places where you're not going to know what's next. But you got to go confidently, with faith and with courage, right? So your mind, your body, your spirit, your emotion, your environment, and your purpose, that's what education should be developing. So now this is every single thing we've been talking about. This is what we've been talking about through these last 15 days. This is what we're talking about: discipline, personal growth, habits and identity, neural soul liberation method and university, continuum, Miss Juicy, the whole vibe. This is what we've been talking about last night, while people stay stuck, how to get unstuck, how to break free. This is what we've been talking about. Education should teach you how to understand yourself. Education should teach you how to understand yourself. You are the most important person in the world. You are. Each one of us is to us. Because no matter how many people you want to help, no matter how much good you want to do for your family, if you are not here, if you are not whole, if you are not sane, if you are not liberated, you cannot do it. Not to the best of your ability, not fully, because now you may pay, you may be able to give money, but you may also cause harm because your mental is shot. And so now you're throwing freaking jabs at somebody. Now you gave them money, you show that you care about them, you support them, but now you're saying things, or your energy is you move in a certain way where they don't even feel confident around you. So they may take the money, and then sometimes they may even stop taking the money. Like, I don't even want the money from you. It don't feel right? It don't feel legit. It don't feel like nah, it's okay. I'd rather distance myself. So education should teach you how to understand yourself before trying to teach you how to understand the world. Before you understand the world around you, your family, politics, freaking a job, before you understand every single aspect of the world around you, you first should learn how to understand yourself. Every part of yourself: mind, body, spirit, your emotions, your health, your purpose, how to manage, how to build and maintain relationships. That's what you should understand. Your triggers, right? What gets you excited? What do you do when you get excited? What makes you sad? What do you do when you get sad? Right? Again, I know when I get sad, I eat. That's been since young. I didn't know that until many years later when I was an adult. Like, this is my coping mechanism. I get sad, I get afraid, I get nervous, I get angry. I want to eat something. And I want to eat a lot of it. All right, so we got some core pillars, right? About 6 core pillars on what education should include. Self-awareness, number 1, is the most important thing. Understanding your thoughts, understanding your patterns, understanding your behaviors. Emotional intelligence, extremely important. Learning how to regulate, and respond, not react. You don't have to react to everything that someone says or does. You do not have to react. And so many of us, I spoke about it, so many people have gone to prison. I went to prison for reacting. So many friends are in prison still for reacting. So many people are dead for reacting, not responding. No emotional intelligence. Discipline and habits, number 3. Building consistency and follow through. Extremely important. Health and wellness, understanding nutrition, understanding how important movement is. Do you know how many people right now are unhealthy? Unhealthy, physically, mentally, and emotionally unhealthy. And because they just don't know, they think that this is just what happens. This is just life. And like, nah, you can be fit. You can be healthy. Yes, you're going to age, but you don't got to age with chronic illness. You don't got to age with getting hip replacements and all of that stuff. Like, yes, if you fall, something happens, right? But like, just because just because like there's so many people, so many young people, especially now, like yes, so many adults and elders, but so many young people now who are sick, physically, mentally, and emotionally sick. So health and wellness, core pillar of education and what it should include. Environment and relationships, how to choose and create supportive environments, right? So like, yes, environmental, right? Climate, all of that stuff, but also the environment that you live in. The environment that you live in, like how to choose, it should teach you. Education should include how to choose and create supportive environments. Where do I thrive? Where do I feel my best self? All right, I don't feel too great around this person. They may be a parent, they may be a sibling, they may be someone who like I have a blood relation to, but I actually don't feel good around them. They don't make me feel good about myself. So how do I then choose and create a more supportive environment? Maybe my neighbors, maybe a sibling who's cool, their friends, right? Like, how do you choose that? And then how do you create your own supportive environment, right? I'm always going to say that transparency and vulnerability is one of the keys to building relationships. Be transparent, be vulnerable, be open, and even if you're the first one, if that's what you want, you got to lead with that. Who are you? Why are you here? What was your experience like up till now in your relationships and in your environment, right? And number six, the sixth core pillar, extremely core pillar, helping people find meaning and alignment, your purpose and direction, extremely important. How do you align with the things that are showing up in your life? How do you find meaning in your life? Like what matters to you? Again, because there are so many people who are working at jobs, making great freaking money, but they're not doing what they love. They're working and living meaningless lives. And you can hear it because some of them, if you talk to them and ask them, like I have a sibling, ask them, your how's work? Oh man, work is work. I wish I was doing what you was doing. I wish I had more time to do X, Y, and Z. Whether it's be with family more, whether it's pursue their own craft, right? This family member is an incredible writer, an incredible photographer. They wish they could have more time doing their craft, right? Perfecting their craft, exploring their craft, taking photos, making films, writing scripts, doing all of those things. But because they got to work so much, because they followed the American dream and they have now all of these responsibilities, but also separate from the responsibilities because they're conditioned that this is what you have to do. Do this is something different. And it's like, it's not part of how you live. It's like, if you're fortunate, and it's like, nah, this is actually what life is. To live life wholly, fully, according to your dreams and your purpose, right? And know that like it's gonna come. Whatever you need to get whatever you need, right? All of the resources you need is gonna come to provide for your family, to provide for yourself, to have shelter, adequate clothing, and food. Those things will come as long as you are disciplined, right? As long as you have good habits and you follow through and you show up and you do the thing consistently and you reach out to people and you're aware and all of these things, right? That's how education should look. And how should it feel? How should education feel? It should not feel one like pressure. It should not feel like pressure. You should not be scared of these tests, right? It should feel like growth, right? It should feel like growth. It should feel engaging. It should feel relevant to you, to now, to the time that you are living in. And it should feel empowering. It should make you feel like, yo, I can do something. I matter and I can do something in this world. I can do something in my family. I can do something in my community. And I can do something in this world. That is what education should feel like. It should make you feel more capable, not more confined, more capable. Do you hear that? Like education should make you feel more capable. You got all of the tools you needed, and now you can go out there into the world and live. Not confined, not feel like I got this one thing, I'm really good at this, but I suck at all these other things. And so I'm confined. Or I could stay in my little box. It's like, nah, man, like you ain't a motherfucking square or a rectangle. You are a whole human being. Pi, 3.14, circle, right? My birthday. You are eternal. You have a lot of layers to yourself, right? I remember hearing when I was in school, be all you could be. You could be anything you want to be. And I took that to heart and said, I'm going to be everything. And so I've done farm school, agricultural studies, right? I've written books, I've made films, I've done theater, right? But I'm also a peace activist, and I care about the violence, and I care about health and food justice. And I've had people over the years, you'll stick to one thing. Why? I have multiple layers to me. Why do I have to stick to one thing? Because that's what you've been taught? Stay in your lane. No. Build, and create your own lane. And that's what I've done, created my own lane, and I'm very comfortable in my lane, And do I wish I had more money? Of course. And do I know more money's gonna come? Of course. But am I extremely happy and fulfilled now? Of course. Why? Because I own my time. I have time freedom, and I'm pretty healthy, right? I'm pretty healthy, and I know myself, and I love myself, and I'm grateful for myself, even for my challenges, even for quote unquote shortcomings, right? So like, you should feel more capable, not more confined. And so my vision, right, what we're building with Neural Soul Liberation University, this is the fucking direction. A space where people don't just learn information, they learn themselves. That is what we are building. That is what the whole Neural Soul Liberation University is about. That is what, and that's for adults. Once we get that settled, then we get some people certified, and they are Neural Soul Liberation educators, right? We're gonna figure that out over the next year or so as we really build this out. Once that happens, then we're going to create the Neural Soul Liberation Academy for young people. And the people who graduated from the university are going to go and they're going to teach the young people the same education, right? How to build yourself, how to process trauma in the brain, right? What happens with trauma in your brain, right? How does it affect your decision making? How does it affect your prefrontal cortex and your ability to think logically, right? How to reframe stories, address your limiting beliefs, right? 7 pillars of a healthy brain. As we teach this in the university to adults, right? We're then going to come back, have those same adults, they'll become teachers to the young people. And that's what we're building. Because again, we're building a space where you're not just coming to get information and to memorize some shit. You're coming to actually learn yourself and have those aha moments where it all clicks. Same way it clicked for me, like, oh shit, this is why this. All right, this is why that person's doing that. Okay, I can see beyond the fog now. This has nothing to do with me. Okay, cool. Now I show up differently. Now I'm happier. Now I'm more peaceful. Now I'm more content with my life. And now no one can bait me. Right? Emotions may rise, but I know what to do with that. I know to breathe, take a rest, call someone, take a walk. I know I have the tools. I have the tool belt now, the full tool belt of how to navigate my life. Right? So why does this matter? Why does the Neural Soul Liberation University really matter? Why are we talking about the future of education? Because I think the great majority of human beings on the planet would say the world is in turmoil. The world is falling apart. Whether we say it's just white supremacy, like self-destructing, the world is falling apart. People are dying. People are losing their grips on life, right? And so if we change education, we change everything. If we change education, we change everything. We change how people think. We change how people live. We change how people relate. And we change how people build. Because education shapes people, and people shape the world. So if we want a better world, we have to start with education. We must. We have to. Education is the portal to the future, the gateway to a future, right? The reason the world is how it is now, because of the freaking education system, collective education system, science, math, history, politics, right? Political education, right? Business, economics, right? World affairs, health, policy, law, right? The reason the world is the way it is right now and certain things are able to exist that's causing pain and freaking heartache amongst so many people, is because of education. And so I believe that this is one of the first steps to building a better world. It's to build a better education system. It's not to give everybody more money. That's important. I want to give people money, right? But with the same education, same results eventually, right? So education is that pathway to a better world, to a brighter world, to a bolder world that so many of us want. Education is that pathway to world peace that so many children, when they ask what do they want in the world, so many children have said world peace. I want world peace. I want to create world peace. This is that pathway. Education shapes people. People shape the world. If we change education, we change every single thing. And so what's something that you wish you were taught earlier in life? Me, again, I wish it was discipline. I wish it was emotional intelligence. I wish it was freaking how to process grief and trauma, right? I wish it was how to process grief and trauma. I wish I was taught that earlier in life, man. I wish I learned that at 6, 7, 8 years old. Like my children, 5, 6 years ago, my brother transitioned 2018. My daughter was 2, my son was 6. In 2018, when my brother transitioned, their uncle, my son asked, "Where's Uncle Anthony? What happened to Uncle Anthony?" And I told him that he had a superpower. He became invisible. He left his body, and now he's able to go anywhere, everywhere, including inside you at all times. When I told them that I won't be here forever, physically, I will not be here forever in your life. Either one of you are going to transition before me, or I'm going to transition before you. Right? And I'm going to transition before you. Like, but I'm always going to be here. Extremely important. Extremely important. Because that was the biggest thing for me losing my dad at 11 years old. All the answers didn't make sense. Oh, your father's in a better place. Oh, your father. What better place is it than being with your baby boy? I was 11. Like, I needed you. What better place is it? Like, that don't make no sense. You're saying that this place ain't good enough? That's what you're saying? Like, it don't make no sense. But again, people regurgitate what they hear. They hear shit, they memorize it, they regurgitate it. The truth is, I would have responded completely differently if it was like, yo, your father's inside of you. Your father left, he had to leave, it was his time, and now he's inside of you. And when you really need him, you can close your eyes and see him. And yes, it's not the same. Yes, you miss him physically, and you may always miss him physically, but he's inside of. I would have processed things a lot differently. And maybe some of the trouble I would have got in, I would not have gotten in. Right? However, all went the way it was supposed to. All is divine. I'm here now, and I'm here to teach. I'm here to teach this shit. Right? So what's something that you wish you were taught earlier in life? Please do drop it in the comments. If you're tuned into the show right now, leave in the comments something that you wish you were taught earlier in life. Because understand, we are building literally a better world. We're building a whole world healing system. In the future, if you could imagine for a moment a world where people understand their minds, where people know how to regulate their emotions, where people live with purpose, they're not aimlessly wandering around, and when people build with intention. They build with intention. They build businesses with intention. They build institutions with intention. They build relationships with intention. That is the future that we are talking about. With Continuum, with Neural Soul Liberation University, with the whole vibe, with Miss Juicy, and with every single thing that we are building in this world healing system. So, as we close, we don't need more information. We don't need more information. That's not what we need. We have an information overload right now. How many people you know, real quick, how many people you know that got all the information in the world and they still are stuck? They still not doing anything with it. Somebody said, like, and mind you, I'm all for further education, but how many people keep going to school, more degrees and more degrees and more certificates and more certificates? Again, yes, the more you learn, the more you earn, but then people aren't even doing anything with that. They're not translating it to teach. They're not translating it to practice. Is theory, is learning, is information. So we don't need more information. We have a lot of fucking information. What we need is better transformation. How do we transform this shit? How do we transmute this shit? How do we make this, take it from information to impact? Take it from information to impact. How do we take what we learned, what we know, what information that we've gathered, the education that we've gotten, and turn it into impact in our lives, right? Help us process things better, deal with shit better, see things a little differently, or also impact in the lives of others, impacts in our children, impacts in the lives of our siblings, of our spouse, our partners, our friends, our coworkers, our colleagues, and then just everybody we're passing throughout the day, on the buses, on the trains, in traffic, at the store, at the deli, at the restaurant, at the spa, at the gym, at the clinic, right? Like, so the future of education is human development. The future of education is human development. That is the future of education. And the more we move into the space, the more we understand this, overstand this, and understand this, that the old education system, the old paradigm, is collapsing, and it needs to collapse because it hasn't served us well collectively as a whole of humanity, the better off we'll be. It's human development. It's key. How do we develop human beings? What do human beings need to develop to thrive, to be able to transform wherever they are to wherever they want to be and to become the best versions of themselves? How do we get there? How do we get there? And with that, guys, that is our stream. That's our show for tonight. Day 16 is a wrap. Right, I got to go get some more steps. I got to go do a couple of sets of push-ups, pull-ups, ab rollers, and resistance bands. I'm gonna do a couple of sets. Right, it's 9:45. I got to run for probably like 5 minutes, 10 minutes maybe. I just need like 1,000 steps, like 1,100 steps, something like that. So run in place, get my steps, and then do my push-ups, do my pull-ups, and pack some more books tonight. Get myself to bed, man. Do my journal writing. Right, been writing in my journal. Shout out to Kimona. She got me this journal for my birthday, right? 50 Days of Divine Discipline, World Healer. Super excited. I actually want to get these journals made and sell them, right? Yeah, I love how they feel. I love how they look. I love the pages, right? How the pages are, right? I've been filling it up every day, 1 or 2 pages a day, sometimes 3. 25 pages. Yeah, we had 25 pages so far, man. 15 days in. We didn't write yet today. So as of yesterday, already got 24 pages done. Write again today, probably a page or 2 today. A lot to get off my chest, a lot to get off my mind. But yeah, man, tomorrow, day 17. I'm super excited because tomorrow we're 1/3 of the way there. 17, then 34, then 51, then we back inside, then we eating some fruit. In case, unless something changes. If something changes and like the world it gets worse and I feel more passion, then I'm fucking keep hunger striking. But as of right now, we going 51 days the most. 51 days, and we're coming back to eat. All right, we're coming back to balance, and we're gonna refocus. But yo, listen, I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. KK LaShant, come on and say I love hugging myself. Yes, as you should, beloved, as you should, baby love, hug yourself. And yeah, guys, join us tomorrow, same time, same place. Tomorrow we're gonna talk about Continuum. Right, we're gonna really get deeper into Continuum and how it helps people transform. Because it's also part of the future. Right, that's the future that we are stepping into. That's the future that we are ahead of. Right, VR, AR, and specifically as it relates to human development, human becoming, human potential, and human transformation. Man, I love you guys. I'm gonna get my workout in, drink some coconut water, and get my ass to bed soon. Right, about 2 hours. Hopefully, I'll be in bed. Peace.